last Friday, so just before the weekend, the Associated Press received a letter from the Justice Department informing the Associated Press that the government had already done something that should make every American insane with rage. That's not what they said, that's what I'm saying. The government had acquired 2 months of telephone records. This is them saying to the AP, we already have these phone records. Incoming numbers, outgoing numbers, call duration for more than 20 lines associated with the Associated Press. Among those phones were AP offices, personal lines for reporters, and the AP phone in the House of Representatives press gallery. All of those lines, the government had the call durations and who the calls were to. I can't imagine how they got them. Anyway, this has been, the letter the AP received has not been made public, but apparently the government provided no reason for the seizure. But we think it relates to a May 2012 story that the AP broke, a big story that the AP broke, about an al-Qaeda plot originating in Yemen on the anniversary of Osama bin Laden's death. A bomb plot originating in Yemen that was foiled when the device, and I remember the story when it happened, when the device, instead of being turned over to the people who would blow it up and detonate it, that it was given to an undercover CIA agent. The AP broke that story, and now we are learning that what the Associated Press wanted and why they bugged the AP's phones and took all their phone records. Court order, no court order, we don't know. The Associated Press had no prior knowledge of it, no ability to fight it in court, none. The government, maybe they asked for a warrant in their nonsense court, maybe they didn't. But because there were words on this phone conversation, I'm sure, like bomb plot and al-Qaeda, I'm sure the government felt well within its rights to go ahead and take this information. So what the government is clearly trying to do, because the AP wasn't involved in, obviously, in anything to do with the plot, but the AP got the story, and the government wants to uncover the leak of that story, a story that was completely true. So the Associated Press has responded with this. This is from Gary Pruitt. He's the president and CEO of the Associated Press. Here's his quote: "There can be no possible justification for such an overbroad collection of the telephone communications of the Associated Press and its reporters. These records potentially reveal communications with confidential sources across all of the news gathering activities undertaken by the AP during a 2-month period, providing a roadmap to the AP's news gathering operations and disclose information about AP's activities and operations that the government has no conceivable right to know." So that's from Gary Pruitt, the president and CEO of the AP. Yeah, you guys, the Americans, we wanted the Patriot Act. We decided not to object significantly to the Patriot Act, and this is the Patriot Act in question. You got reporters from the Associated Press doing their job, uncovering a significant story. And interesting also here, the AP cooperated with the government on the story. The AP reporters got this story, and then the White House asked the Associated Press to hold the story for 5 days for fear that it might compromise parts of the investigation, and the Associated Press complied and held on to the story, with the White House saying, hold on to it, you can run it eventually, but for national security, hold. The AP did everything proper, everything that they're supposed to do, and now the government, the Justice Department, and Eric Holder have come and let the AP know that they know the calls that the AP reporters made, that they know who they called, AP personal numbers, in addition to their phone in the press gallery of the House of Representatives and some of their office phones. It's outrageous. They didn't have, normally in a situation like this, if the government wants something like that, they go to court and ask, and then the AP goes to court and says, we're not going to give you that information. We're protecting our sources. Now they've just skipped that step. The government has just said, no, we're going to take it. And now the AP's going back and saying, hey, we need you to forget that you ever learned this information and destroy the records. Like, what difference does it make? First of all, they're not going to destroy the records. They could say they could destroy the records. There's no one to check. There is no check. There's no balance. It's a very frustrating story to see a news organization break a true story, cooperate with the government on it, and then get screwed by the government anyway, by an overbroad, overreaching government that has no limits on its power whatsoever. And the issue would be, again, you see the graphic that we created with this. I mean, this is what you expect from George Bush and Dick Cheney, but here it is from Barack Obama and Eric Holder.